in turn revolved around a central Earth. Many astronomers note, incidentally, that Brahe's proposed system was in fact a good fit with the data available to him, and that his blunder wasn't so much a result of prevailing religious belief as an understandable reluctance to discard the reigning Earth-centered system and replace it with the newer solar one, unless the evidence was indisputable. Such an adjustment was, however, ultimately necessary, and although immensely consequential, it was part of an even broader and deeper substitution, what the pioneering sociologist Max Weber called the disenchantment of the world, exemplified by Galileo's more general discovery that the world lends itself to material explanations, objective as distinct from subjective, natural rather than supernatural. In The Myth of the Machine, the historian Lewis Mumford complained, "Galileo committed a crime far greater than what any dignitary of the Church accused him of, for his real crime was trading the totality of human experience for the minute portion which can be observed and interpreted in terms of mass and motion. In dismissing human subjectivity, Galileo had excommunicated history's central subject, multidimensional man. Under the new scientific dispensation, all living forms must be brought into harmony with the mechanical world picture by being melted down, so to say, molded anew to conform to a more mechanical model." It is said that after being forced to recant his claim that the earth moves around the sun, Galileo muttered to himself, "Eppur si muove," and yet it moves. The story might be apocryphal, but the underlying mechanical model, the cosmic machine of which everyone and everything is a part, is no myth, nor is the resistance that it continues to evoke. After the Copernican revolution, and the one that Galileo initiated, which is still a work in progress, came the Darwinian revelation that we, along with the rest of the living world, aren't the product of special creation, but rather the results of a natural, material process that physically connects us to all other organisms. Even now, opponents of evolution cling desperately to the illusion that human beings, and in some cases living things generally, are so special that only a benevolent creator could have produced them. For these people it remains a hard sell that the organic world, like the sun and its 5 planets, doesn't revolve around us. The third major leg of this troublesome triad was initiated by Freud, who, despite his occasional crackpot flights of fancy, came up with at least one solid and highly consequential discovery: the existence of the unconscious. Regardless of what one thinks of penis envy, the Oedipus complex, and so forth, there is general agreement that the human mind is like an iceberg, with much of its mass hiding below the conscious waterline. So, not only have we been kicked out of our presumed astronomical centrality, immersed in a world of materiality and deprived of our widely assumed creaturely uniqueness, but we aren't even masters in what seemed to be left to us, our pride and joy, our rational, conscious minds. Of course, there are many people for whom the more we learn about the natural world, the more wonderful it is revealed to be, and thus the more magnificent its creator. It is likely nonetheless that insofar as human beings are perceived as natural, and thus explicable in terms of widely accepted scientific principles, rather than uniquely fashioned by supernatural intervention, the more resistance will be evoked among those committed not just to human specialness, but also to perceiving this specialness as evidence for divine power and intervention. It is hard enough to adjust your opinion. Think of how much easier it is to change your clothes than to change your mind. Harder yet to relinquish a cherished perspective, especially one that has the blessing of religious belief. As Jonathan Swift noted centuries ago in his essay Seeking Wisdom, you cannot reason a person out of a position he did not reason himself into in the first place. The only constant, nevertheless, is change. The story is told of an ancient ruler who tasked his advisers to come up with a statement that would be true at all times and for all occasions. Their response? "This too shall pass." But although the world's factual details are constantly shifting, as the philosopher Heraclitus pointed out, you cannot step in the same river twice, and as Buddhists note, all things are impertinent, the basic rules and patterns underlying these changes in the physical and biological world are themselves constant. So far as we know, light traveled at the same speed during the age of dinosaurs, during the Peloponnesian War, and today. The second law of thermodynamics is true and was true long before Carnot discovered this principle, just as special and